Like the guitar solo and M. Night Shyamalan's dependable brand of twist-based cinema, boss battles went out of fashion for a while there. Maybe it was the tedium of chipping away at a massive red health bar at the top of the screen, the homogenised design of it all, or the crushing morale hit that comes with pressing retry over 90 times. But since we've all inexplicably decided that those things are alright again, let's celebrate the toughest boss battles in PC gaming, eh? Some require superhuman patience, reflexes, memory, or all three. Others will have you screaming bullshit more than the next Target gameplay footage trailer in an E3 livestream. Saddle up with health packs and say your goodbyes to that intact controller in your hands while we take you through them. And if you like the video, hit the subscribe button so we don't have to battle our bosses to make any more.
In the olden days, before all we could think to do for entertainment was cycle through our Snapchat filters, we had difficult video games. Shovel Knight pays homage to those days by arming you with a spade and forcing you through some of the hardest arrangements of pixels you've ever, dug? None of the game's bosses are easy, although they do have patterns to learn and, with practice, can be beaten. The complexity of those patterns, along with the dexterity required, does ramp up considerably as you progress through the game though. So, when you reach the near end point and spy all 8 bosses ready to take you on all over again, one after another in one continuous battle, it's a bit disheartening. At least this time you'll have a few more tricks up your sleeve and you already know each enemy's routines. Just as well, because this is one of those fights where you know taking damage even once during the first 2 bosses means you might as well just give up. Yeah, one of those. The same type of fight that involves a lot of saying, oh yeah, no, that's fair, totally fine, and placing your controller down on your desk, arms folded to prove a point.
Ah, the Bristolian accent. It's like honey in your ears, isn't it?
There should be a portal device on that podium over there.
Don't be fooled by the fact that Wheatley's original title was Intelligence Dampening Core, whose sole purpose was to generate an endless stream of terrible ideas to hinder GLaDOS's mental capabilities. He quickly became one of video games' meanest antagonists. From helping you out and being a funny, quirky and sweet deuteragonist, Wheatley quickly turns into a devilish basketball of doom. Shell and GLaDOS the Potato team up to take down Wheatley at the end of the game, after Wheatley decides to place himself within GLaDOS's old body and take over the Aperture Science facility. As if boss battles weren't hard enough, you've got a Venture Core trying to hit on you.
Hey, hiya, pretty lady.
You're dodging bombs, trying not to breathe in the neurotoxin, and figuring out how best to take down this robotic moronic monster using only your portal gun.
I am not a moron!
Using portals to redirect bombs and navigating the room using well-placed blue and orange gel, you have to attach all other cores to Wheatley's new body to, surprisingly, put GLaDOS back in charge of the testing facility. Luckily, it turns out you can shoot portals on the moon and you're able to leave our once lovable companion in the depths of space.
So much space, need to see it all.
I wish I could take it all back.
If this list had been created using a more scientific methodology, it would probably contain bosses exclusively from the Dark Souls series, but that'd be no fun, would it? As kitchen murals and serial philanderers say, variety is the spice of life. Still, you've got to hand it to Ornstein and Smaug. Just when you were feeling proud of yourself for beating a couple of bosses in the patented world's hardest game,
All rights reserved.
2 of them show up at once. I'd go into the lore of each character, but the only pertinent facts for this video are that one is a big fat knight, and the other is an even bigger, fatter knight. They both like hitting you really hard, and when you kill one of them, the other gets all his health back and turns even deadlier. And I don't mean deadlier like old Wheatley back there, or Shovel Knight's bosses. I mean so deadly that taking a second to wipe the sweat from your brow will result in almost certain death. Those people that tell you that Dark Souls isn't even hard and it's all a misconception, ask them about Ornstein and Smaug.
The seminal first-person shooter Half-Life isn't really remembered for its boss battles. On alien planet Zen, there are a couple of encounters with sizable foes that you could even call outright rubbish without being marched off to the contrarian corner. The fabled Tentacle Beast, though, at around the halfway mark of the best shooter ever made, is a boss battle for the ages. Like several of the bosses in this list, the Tentacle Beast's actually sort of easy to beat, if you know what to do. But in a clever subversion of the norm, indulging in your first instinct and shooting at it only increases your chances of swift and inglorious death, since it's actually attracted to sound. Beating it then doesn't require a huge amount of dexterity or laser pointer aim, but a suppression of all you've ever learnt about boss battles. Moving around slowly at a perpetual crouch right next to and underneath your gargantuan foe takes some courage. Finally, locating the right set of switches that blast the beast right out of existence feels like a victory over your own nerves, rather than one of the twitch reflexes or muscle memory. For that moment, and so many others, we salute you, late 90s Valve.
Diablo 3's qualities as a loot dispensing clickathon are so well documented that you almost forget what you were there to do in the first place. Literally kill the root of all evil. Yes, Diablo himself. And yes, he does pop open like a big loot piñata when you kill him, but stop being so materialistic. There's nothing particularly inventive about your fight with old Red Knees. He's just incredibly big, incredibly powerful, and has a health bar the size of Russia. He'll take you down into the shadows as a reward for lopping off some of that health bar and do his absolute best to trap you in a bony cage while mashing all his attacks, so there's actually not many windows of opportunity to mash yours. After about 14 years of clicking, he'll fall. And then you'll do it all over again on Nightmare 126 difficulty, because the real boss battle in Diablo is coming to terms with the fact that you have a problem with collecting loot.
It's hard to get fighting game boss characters right. I say that because in the genre's 30-something year history, the person waiting at the top of the ladder has invariably been a right prat. That's right, Shao Kahn, just because this entry is specifically about Street Fighter 4's Seth, that doesn't mean you're getting away without a mention. The problem with Seth is that he morphs his moveset in an instant. 1 second you're defending Chun-Li's Yosuk Yaku, the next he's used Dalsim's Yoga Teleport to mess you up. Oh, and there's Zangief's spinning pile driver before you've even got up, just to make absolutely sure you'll be shouting into a pillow for an hour after this fight. A lot of people think Seth's a cheap boss for that reason, and while I'm not here to fling insults at the massive silver Wazuk, it's hard not to agree with those people when you're lying on the floor looking up at a depleted health bar while he flexes his 38 biceps in celebration. He takes away that buffer zone of anticipation you get with every other character, and that makes for a diamond tough encounter.
Finished yet?
Unnecessarily muscular photographer and on-again, off-again Dead Rising protagonist Frank West is a pretty scary man when you stop and think about it. Confronted with the end of civilization and legions of decomposing corpses reanimated all around him, he pops down to the mall, puts on a funny hat and weaponizes a lawnmower. Takes a certain kind of mindset, that. And yet, for all his prowess, indiscriminately jibbing the recently alive by the 100 without any apparent effect on his mood, Frank's absolutely bested by 3 idiots in a jeep. Appearing quite early on in the first game, this trio of joyriding criminals might just represent the hardest boss fight in the entire series. Not, you suspect, because its designers intended it so, but instead because it demands such virtuosic control of a fundamentally unwieldy aiming while moving system. To win the encounter, you'll need to shoot a machine gunner to death with a shotgun while dodging zombies and a jeep in the dark, then melee the driver and passenger to death by striking just before they hit you and then dodging. It's exactly as fun as I've made it sound.
Take a knee, you are in the presence of a god. Arriving massive eyes, claws and apostrophes, World of Warcraft's Cthulhu possesses one of the most robust health bars you and your guild could ever hope to diminish. There are 100 ways to do it, of course, and these days beings have even soloed the old god. But the first time you step into the room, greeted by the Dark Lord Sauron's eye on a bed of octopus offcuts, is a moment unmatched in gaming. What follows is a barrage of shouting that no chat client could truly handle, a lot of targeted damage on eye tentacles, and, eventually, glory. WoW's old gods take heavy influence from H.P. Lovecraft, and nowhere is it more evident than in Cthulhu. But here's a bit of trivia for you. The name, like Cthulhu and Warhammer 40k's Catan, are all likely derivatives of the Greek word Chthonios, which means under or inside the earth. That's one for your next dinner party.
My first encounter with one of Skyrim's 8 dragon priests was accidentally stumbling upon Croesus' tomb just after I defeated a dragon on the top of Sheerpoint. I was just a wee small baby in terms of how long I'd been exploring Skyrim, no more than level 15, dragon priests are level 50. It was pretty much ant versus anteater. I got obliterated many times, and my most recent save away from Croesus was way too far back to try and avoid him. I defeated the dragon, started running excitedly up to the wall where I was going to get a new word for a shout, ran past a normal looking coffin, and whoomph, out comes a dead guy. Not a Draugr, no, something much, much worse. I have no helpful hints on how to defeat dragon priests, as my only experience so far has been to avoid them as much as possible and wait to become a higher level. At least you get a cool mask as a well done.
Divinity Original Sin isn't afraid to challenge you. At least that's what I would say if I hadn't fought the Ahu Sparkmaster 5000 until pathetic little tears came out of my face. I'd say something about its old school approach to difficulty, or that it doesn't hold your hand. Having beaten this particular boss though, what I'll actually say about it is that it's a made by the devil himself to make your life worse. Here's how it works. There's a big stompy robot in a cave. It's accompanied by 2 mages and an archer. The mages can charge it up with electricity, whereupon the Sparkmaster can all but kill each of your party members in one turn. It's essential then to suppress the Sparkmaster's sparkiness before he wipes you all out. One way to do that, in theory, is by completing a long and complicated quest that gives you the robot's remote control. Great! Now you can disable his spark attack and even get him to fight for you instead of against you. Except, oh look, you can't. Because there's a very good chance that your remote control won't work, all thanks to a long-running bug in the game's code. All that's left then is to beat an incredibly difficult boss without the means of beating him the way the game's designers intended you to. This'll go well, I reckon.
There you go, we got through them, and with 1 health pack to spare. If you give us a thumbs up, we won't tell anyone you alt-tab to load up a trainer halfway through. Let us know what you think about our picks below, and tell us your own stories of heroism in the face of boss encounter BS.